Steve, and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be trying to learn German in 1 week. Remember to stay until the end of the video so you can figure out exactly how I went from this, Hallo, Guten Tag, Wie geht's, Ich bin Kyle. Yeah, that's it. God, I hope I get better. This video is going to be awful. To that in just 1 week.
Hallo, guten Tag oder guten Abend. Wenn ich meine Frühstück machen, kann ich Deutsch Sie hören. Ich habe keine Brüder, aber ich habe auch einen Hund.
If you like the video, you can leave a like down here, you can leave a comment, and don't forget to stay subscribed to stay up to date when I release a new video. If you're curious about the methods I'll be using in this video, I'll bring them in as they're appropriate, but I'm going to be using lingq. Is a language learning platform that I use quite often for most of the languages I learn. I also bought 2 books, the German Grammar Drills by Midweek. So I'm going to go through this. I have no idea what it's going to be like yet, but we'll see. Next up is this big boy. This is quite intimidating, not going to lie. Yeah, this is German Grammar and Usage Hammers 6th edition. So there is over 500 pages in this. And I guess I'll just be referencing this when I need to.
So it's Wednesday, the 3rd day of my little challenge here, and before I get into what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show you what I've done so far. Okay, so if we go into my lessons here, this is what I've done so far. My plan today is to get through a few of these lingq mini stories, so I have something longer to listen to in the off time. So as you can see, there are 1,535 new words. 84% of these words I do not know yet, so that's a really good way to get a good basis in whatever language. So that's going to be really useful. Yeah, so other things that I said I was going to do were go through the grammar books that I bought, but I have not done that yet. Anytime I can multitask, I'm going to this playlist function here. These are all of the lessons I've completed and they're audio, so I just click play and then I can listen to the entire playlist while doing anything else like washing the dishes or whatever. So this is really useful just to get some listening practice in, get used to the pronunciation, etc. If you go to the vocabulary section here, you can see all of the words and phrases that I have saved, and I've got them tagged. So I've subcategorized them into the type of language function they serve alongside, I don't see if I can find any. If it's a specific noun, I will tag it to its theme or topic, such as school related or hospital related, as I've mentioned in the video that should be out already on my channel. If so, I will link it up at the top. It's about learning vocab in a new language. As you can see, I have a lot of words due for review. These are words that I have to review in a day. If I recognize them, I review in 3 days. If they're familiar, I review in a week. And if it's learned, it's a review in 3 days. And this spaced repetition system is very useful for consolidating the words that you know. Just gives you the word and its pronunciation.
Durcharbeiten.
So I know that arbeiten means work or to work. So I'm going to go through work through. Yes. And then if you think you really know it, you can skip and change whichever status that you want. So we'll go next. So this one is a context-based multiple choice question in which you get given a sentence and you have to pick the most appropriate word. So this helps you think in your language and you can learn words much more quickly as you're forced to think rather than just flip a card for its translation. I'm going to go through some of these mini stories now. I'm also going to go through as much of these as I can today. And yeah, I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. In the background will be a time lapse of a quick 20-minute study session I had using lingq, attempting to guess the meaning of the words and then saving and tagging them. I'll be going into more details in the future about what I'm going to discuss, but when starting to learn a new language, it is vitally important to have motivation. Without motivation, your ability to learn anything is significantly impaired. My motivation was that I hope to move to Germany for a master's program in neuroscience. This gives me roughly 8 months to study German. Next is you're going to need to set some small goals. In this video, my goal was to learn as much as I can in 1 week. Not the most concrete goal, but it did consist of a goal of being able to write a short journal entry, which you will see at the end of the video. It's also important to have some way of seeing regular results when learning. I did this through lingq, Every time I moved a saved word to known, it would increase the number of my screen, and it would mean that the content I was reading becomes more white. As you can see on the screen, known words are not highlighted. But I will also test myself at the end of the week, as you will also see. Listening practice is good. As I mentioned before, I do that on lingq, but you can also find other ways to listen. YouTube is a great place to find easy German audio, and I've also made a German music playlist on Spotify, which I regularly listen to. The last thing I'm going to mention is that regardless of if you have someone to speak to or not, you should be repeating what you hear, as you will see now from the next clip.
Beschließt, Französisch zu lernen, zu sparen und zu Hause zu bleiben.
Beschließt, Französisch zu lernen, zu sparen und zu Hause zu bleiben.
Beschließt Tobias, Französisch zu lernen?
Beschließt Tobias, Französisch zu lernen? Ja, beschließt, Französisch zu lernen, zu sparen und zu Hause zu bleiben.
Ja, Tobias beschließt, Französisch zu lernen, zu sparen und zu Hause zu bleiben.
So the overlying question now is, how much did I learn? And in order to do that, I feel like I need to be tested in some way. So I'm going to look up whatever German online test I can find that'll give me a level either from A1 to, we'll see. If I even get an A1, then I'll consider this a successful challenge completed. A1 in a week is pretty impressive in my opinion. But before we get into the results of this challenge, I want to go through with you all now what I actually did throughout the challenge. So we'll start with my most used platform here, which is lingq. So known words is 249, 708 links saved, 3 hours of listening done, and over 4,000 words read. If you go over to the vocabulary section, you can see that I've saved over 700 words, 35 phrases, and I've no due words for review because I did that in the morning. That's my morning stuff to do. So I'd wake up and then just do all the links that I've saved, review them in, you'll have seen that before, I think. Next up is lessons, what I've done. So obviously I've started these mini stories. These are pretty good because they're short stories, quite repetitive, and just get you used to the language and they get progressively harder as you keep going. So I searched on Google for A1 stories in German, and I found a good website I'll link it in the description, for a variety of different stories, but I chose the fairy tales from them. Today I covered the first story, which was Little Red Riding Hood. There was some free resources that I used off of YouTube, and there's a channel called Learn German, and this channel honestly is one of the best language learning channels I've ever seen. It broke down the entire A1 course into these 10 or so average minute videos. You'll see them here. I've gone through almost all of them. Didn't take notes on all of them. I just wanted to get exposed to the different structures and words and whatever they were talking about in those, to which then I could find for myself in real content on lingq. But if you were to take notes and study these videos, you would probably pass an A1 exam. They're just that good. They also have structured videos for A2, B1 and B2, I think, along with a lot of grammar stuff on their YouTube channel. So I will 100% be going back to those throughout my German journey. I purchased 2 language learning books. They were the German Grammar Drills by Ed Schrick and the Hammer's German Grammar and Usage 6th edition. I waited a week until I started going through these books because I wanted some background and some exposure to German before I dove into the grammar, because that can be quite daunting, I suppose, for language learners. However, the explanations were very, very good in both of the books. Obviously, the German Grammar Drills book was dedicated to mostly exercises. They also came with an app that I'll put on the screen over here. So I think this app is actually free, but it does match the contents in the book, so I can go through it and test myself as well in both. The Hammer's German Grammar and Usage has explanations in much more detail, so that's something that I'm going to be heavily referencing and studying from in the future when I notice more things in the German language that I want to be explained to me in a clear, concise way, that will be my go-to. Okay, so this is the end of my How Much German Can I Learn in a Week challenge that I put on myself for no apparent reason. My initial thoughts on this challenge were that I usually don't dedicate such a long time on one particular language alone. I typically split up the week between the other languages that I'm learning. So I thought this would be a fun challenge to see how fast I could progress in a language with basically zero knowledge in just 1 week.
As I've mentioned, I have written a relatively small paragraph about my German after a week on journally.com. I posted it in the morning of February 16th, and within a few hours it was corrected by some lovely people who complimented me and fixed any of the mistakes that I made throughout the piece. As you can see, anything in blue is an error or a better substitution in whatever way I wanted to say the word. And it ranges from simple mistakes like accidentally saying the word for black instead of the word for difficult, up to the larger grammar fixes here. It was understood, which is my main goal. I wrote all this without using Google Translate or any dictionaries. Very, very useful website, and yeah, the community is really nice too. As promised, I took a German language placement test. It was a dynamic test, so the questions got progressively harder the more you got right. If you got some wrong, took it back a step until it evened out at whatever CEFR level is most appropriate to you. So yeah, I'm very pleased about this. I got up to the A2.1, which is past the beginner stage already, the absolute beginner stage already. And to increase the accuracy of these tests, obviously they're not 100% accurate. It's not an actual exam being taken, like there's still a speaking element and the listening element that I didn't do. This was just reading and grammar and all of the likes of that. But yeah, to increase the accuracy of this, I took a second one, which I will show you now. This one was a different website, and it allowed you to test each level from A1.1 to C2.2 individually with a set of questions for each. And as you can see, I passed the A1.2 level, indicating that I can go on and move to content for the A2.1. So yeah, I'll leave you now, guys, to watch a short little clip of me speaking after the week. Apologies for any pronunciation errors. I still think I sound a little bit too Swedish in some points, but yeah, let's. I hope you enjoyed the video. You know what you can do to support. It's that like button and a subscribe. Thanks for now, and slán.
Hallo, guten Tag oder guten Abend. Ich heiße Kyle und ich bin 23 Jahre alt. Ich liebe Sprachen zu lernen. Ja, ich habe eine Woche Deutsch gelernt. Ich stehe jeden Tag um 9:30 Uhr auf. In der Früh lerne ich ein bisschen Deutsch. Wenn ich meine Frühstück mache, kann ich Deutsch hören. Ja, was sonst noch? Ich habe 4 in meiner Familie. Meine Mutter, mein Vater und meine Schwester. Ich habe keine Brüder, aber ich habe auch einen Hund. Er heißt Max. Ja, meine Hobbys sind Musik hören, Bücher lesen und Fernsehen. Ja, das war gut. I think.